The following is a Hoop Ball presentation.
Hello and welcome back to the Box Score Breakdown Show. My name is Adrian Benjamin and I'm joined by Coach Joe Sarvadi. Joe, how are you?
I am doing wonderful, Adrian. I mean, it has been way too long that we've been on here together, and I am just ecstatic. Number one, that it's NBA tip-off night tonight, and number two, that you and I get to get back onto our weekly show. I'm so pumped, man.
We were on talking before we started recording about how, we haven't talked to each other for a while. It's probably only been like a month, but I swear it feels like I haven't talked to you for 2 years. So I'm super pumped. We're doing the first show of the season. Coach, it's opening day, man. This is what we've been waiting for. All our drafts are done. This is it, man. But hey, before we get started, I of course want to thank our sponsor, Kona Coffee Company. Thank you so much. Go get some delicious coffee and definitely head over there. I'm just made myself a cup of coffee right now. I'm not joking. And it's, I pulled an all-nighter last night, Coach. But I am just I'm like got so much energy for the start of the season. It doesn't even matter that I only got a couple hours of sleep last night, man. I'm ready to go. How are you?
Oh, fantastic, man. I also want to thank Hawaiian Isles Kona Coffee for their sponsorship. I also want to thank Fantasy Draft because they've come aboard in a big way on the DFS side, which, is a new element to hoop ball. And I'm just so excited this last year seeing, what we've been able to do here at Hoop Ball, with Brew and Dan Besbris just working his tail off to get the best of the best in every angle of NBA coverage. And, the biggest thing, Adrian, we talked about it a lot last year on the show, was how excited we were for this upcoming season because, with at hoop-ball.com now, you've got all of the league information. You've got all of our Brews Top 150. You got our guide. There's everything about every kind of league you could get in, whether it be dynasty, year-long, head-to-head. And now we have this new component of DFS for our daily fantasy folks. And all of our news coverage and tweets and everything we're doing is, we're a one-stop shop, man. So it's at Hoopball Fantasy on Twitter and hoop-ball.com. And we're 7 days a week, man. We got it all going now. It's really cool.
Yeah, we want to remind the listeners, just because your draft is over, that was just the beginning. Now the real fun starts. And, man, the premium package over at Hoop Ball, some great stuff on there to just help you dominate your league all season long. The articles, just for the pickup of the night article, I think it's worth the low price. There's season-long tools that you're going to get there. The interactive shows. There's a waiver wire show. It's great stuff, man. You get access to talk to people, ask questions. It's great stuff. So, just because the draft season's done, the real season's just getting started. So head over to Hoop Ball for all your fantasy needs, man. Coach, you just had a big draft last night, the Hoop Ball Staff League. How did it go for you?
Oh man, it was great. It was a little unexpected. It's a strategy I haven't used. I'm in a dynasty league and 2 other year-long leagues. This is my only head-to-head league, but I normally try to plot it out and go big and then guard, or guard and then big and try to mix it up. But it was one of those scenarios where the guys I loved at the big spots fell to me in round 3 and round 4 and round 5. So believe it or not, I had 5 bigs before I even had a guard on my lineup. So
Wow.
what do you think of these guys? LeBron James, Andre Drummond, Kristaps Porzingis, Blake Griffin, and Julius Randle.
Oh my goodness, dude.
That's a little bit of meat there, isn't it?
I'm telling you what, every single week I would pencil you in as the winner in rebounds, blocks. All those guys score great points too. You pretty much have the market cornered on big man stats, so I think you're good to go there, man. One of the strategies I had, I love to start all my drafts targeting bigs and point guards. Point guard's one of those positions this season that felt really thin, but bigs as well, man. Once those blocks are gone, which is like somewhere between round 5 and 6 in most drafts, it's dried up. So I always make sure to get those guys. And I'll tell you what, Coach, if you find that you're just killing it in big man stacks, you could target the team that's really desperate for big man stats, maybe pluck their stud off their roster for a big that you just don't need because you've got so much of it. So I love that team, Coach.
Beautiful. I love the basis of it. I think I've got some great upside. How about you? What did you do off the bat?
So surprisingly, in the Hoopball Staff League, I ended up with the number 1 pick, which is really weird because in all of my redraft leagues this year, I've never had anywhere close to the number 1 pick. So I was shocked when I got into the draft room, saw my name at the top, and I'll tell you what, Coach, I kind of panicked a little bit because I was like, wait, what am I going to do right now? And I'll tell you what, number 1 pick's not a slam dunk easy decision like it was in years past. And I'll tell you what, Coach, I decided to look at the playoff schedule, and I really let that help me make my decision. I ended up going Anthony Davis, even though I really wanted to go maybe Harden or Curry. But if you go Anthony Davis or Karl Anthony Towns, you get an extra 2 games during the playoff schedule.
Nice.
So I thought that was a no-brainer to go Anthony Davis. And then on the way back, I really wanted to get a point guard because most of the elite point guards were off the board. I ended up with De'Aaron Fox. And then I went one more big. I went JJJ right there. Ooh. So and then the rest of my team, I'm pretty happy about it, man. Shea Gilgeous-Alexander, Karis LeVert, I got Miles Bridges, I got Thomas Bryant. For some reason in every single team, and I play in like 6 leagues, I got Thomas Bryant, I got Thomas Satoransky, I got Miles Bridges and Karis LeVert in like every single league. I don't know why. Wow. Yeah. So, man,
that is crazy. I have 3 guys that I have in all 5 of my leagues, and it's Kristaps Porzingis,
nice,
Andre Drummond, and my man Tyler Hiro.
Ooh, I like it. Coach, you were leading the charge on the Porzingis love during the summertime. We did a bunch of shows together where you were just excited about him, and man, he has looked outstanding in the preseason. That jumper is so wet, and he looks physically, man, he looks like a beast. He just he put on some muscle. Yeah, I mean, this could be just a stellar season for Porzingis. I'm really happy to hear that you got him in almost all of your leagues, man.
I'm pumped, man. And I'll tell you, I would love to go back and listen to our summer shows when I was at the Summer League in Vegas, and you were putting in my fantasy lineups for me. And, it's funny to see how all of that's panned out. If you remember, the guys I was plugging in every day were Tyler Hiro and Kobe White, guys that weren't really thought a lot of making their team hardly, or if they made the team, they weren't going to be in the rotation. And look at these guys now. Tyler Hiro looks like he's going to be the starting 2 guard for Miami in the opener. And Kobe White was just phenomenal in preseason, has earned rotational minutes. So you got to love that.
It's unbelievable. Tyler Hiro, I mean, what I love about Tyler Hiro is every single time he's played, whether it's summer league, preseason, he has just looked outstanding. His jumper, his outside shot, and that team's going to really need that outside shooter.
Yeah.
Need that outside shooting. And the other thing I love about his outlook is the Heat are kind of a mess on the wing right now. Dion Waiters getting in trouble for detrimental activity to the team. So, they don't like what's going on there. I mean, Tyler Hero, as you said, could easily get the starting gig and just run away with it. I mean, if he plays well to start the season and the team does good, what incentive do they have to play Dion Waiters over Tyler Hero? So I love Tyler Hero's outlook, and a guy that was going pretty late in drafts. If you were able to get Tyler Hero, man, that's exciting.
Well, I mean, I'm excited because I remember the first game. They have two gyms in the summer league. One of them's like a small little high school gym that's attached to the other gym, and so it's a real quaint little area. And you're in there with Spoelstra and Riley and all the players out there. And the first guy, if you remember, that I was sending you texts and stuff saying, this Tyler Hero is the real deal. He's the best player on the floor right now. And he just continued that through the summer and into the preseason. And it's just, it's been fun to see his rise. And I don't think that he gives up that starting two-guard position for about the next 10 years with the Heat. I see him first team, all-rookie team, knocking down 15, 16 real points every night. I think he's that good.
I agree with you, Coach. And, coming into the real NBA draft, I liked Tyler Hero, but I thought he was just like outside shooting three-point specialist. Like, I thought he was just going to be like that was his role. And I have to say, the biggest surprise to me is he looks like an all-around player. Man, he can handle the ball. He does other little things. Man, if he's going to be that kind of guy, he's just going to be a great fit on this Miami Heat team who could really use a player like that on the wing with the other guys that they have, Jimmy Butler, Kelly Olynyk, Bam Adebayo. So it just looks like a great fit.
Yeah, I think they will be right in that middle of the pack Eastern Conference playoffs with this squad. They seem to have just getting rid of Whiteside. That was just a massive relief for them, I think, just to sort of reset and let Bam take over in the middle. I'm pretty high on the Heat. It's great stuff. It's been so much fun through all the different things that have gone on. The FIBA stuff and the free agents and the drafts, and it's been one of the most exciting off seasons. And now you've got legitimately probably 8 or 9 teams that could easily win the NBA title, which hasn't been that way in years and years. And just all these new dynamics playing out. I think it's going to be we alluded to it throughout the off season, but now that it's today and it's here, I think this is the most fun, anticipated NBA season that I can remember.
I have to agree with you. I mean, I've been a fan of the NBA for a long time, been playing fantasy forever. I have never been more excited for an NBA season. Just this off season was amazing. The way I've never seen so many top tier guys change teams. I love how guys partnered up instead of creating just a couple super teams. We got like 10 really good teams with duos leading the way. Coach, I am so geeked, and I can't believe today is opening day. Like, this is unbelievable, man. So we are on a high right now, but unfortunately, I do need to talk about something that is somewhat of a downer, and I hate to bring the energy of this show down, but Coach, I got to ask you about Ziya Williamson, man. We just found out yesterday he's going to miss 6 to 8 weeks, and some of you guys who just had your draft, I saw him go as early as the end of round 2 in some of the drafts, and it's just devastating when you lose a guy that you took a pick with that high, you lose him for up to 8 weeks. And the other thing, Coach, I am starting to get a little concerned. Ziya Williamson is a big guy. From what I can understand, this injury didn't happen from a specific play or a specific, him getting hit in the leg or somebody falling on him. So I'm a little worried. Is this something we need to be concerned about for his career because he's so big, and because he plays with such ferocity? And so is this something that could be a long-term issue with him going forward? What are your thoughts on Zion, Coach?
Yeah, that is the big buzzkill of the day for sure, because everybody was just so stoked. The New Orleans is the very first game on TNT tonight, and to not have him out there, sort of as the crown jewel, the new guy in the league, it is very upsetting. But I just hope and pray that this is just a meniscus fix, and that he is the super freak that is able to carry 285 pounds up and down the floor, because he's not fat, he's not out of shape, he's just a massive man that plays super hard. So, I'm just going to keep my fingers crossed that this is just a one-off and that he's able to come back in a couple of months and have the kind of career that we all thought he could have. So I think he's great for the NBA. He's one of the nicest, most humble guys that I've seen come on the scene ever. And so, everybody's rooting for him, and, we'll see how it plays out. They may try, I read some stuff that they may try to get him to slim down to like 270 or so and carry a little less weight. Maybe it won't be as tough on his joints, but, I think he is who he is. I mean, he's sort of a new defining kind of guy like LeBron was. Nobody was built or played like LeBron when he came in. So hopefully this all just comes to pass, and he comes in and just knocks it out when he gets back, and then it's a distant memory.
I'm really glad that you mentioned his weight, because I understand that you kind of want him to slim down because he's carrying less weight, but as you said, he's not a fat guy. I mean, how much weight could he possibly lose? He's just built like a tank. And so, it's really difficult for me to see him losing a lot of weight, because he's not, as you said, he's not fat. So I just hope that he can get stronger and just handle the weight, because I actually think his size is one of the things that makes him so special. We've never seen a player that big be that fast and athletic, which is why he's just an enigma, man. But anyways, I hope he heals fast, and I hope we get him back soon, because it's just better for the game. It's better for the NBA. Let's look at tonight. The Pelicans play tonight.
Yeah.
This game was on TNT. I think they were expecting fireworks. Zion's first game, he's not going to be there. So major letdown. But Coach, I do want to ask you about the games tonight. What do you think about Pelicans Raptors and a battle for Los Angeles, the Lakers and the Clippers? What do you think of the games for opening night?
I think they're terrific, and now I'm in the daily fantasy sports mind. I've got my 5 leagues that I'll manage, every day, try to win them all. But my brain is working in 24-hour segments now. It's, look at this card in this slate today. How am I going to put my best team on the floor that can win tonight? So, you're asking me the right question, man. So I like the fact that the Pelicans, I think, are going to be the fastest paced team in the league. They're really going to push the ball. Nickeil Alexander-Walker, just a massive surprise. He's played his way into the rotation. And with Drew Holiday and Ingram, I think those guys, they have a really nice little team there and great future. I think they'll, I struggle to think they'll make the playoffs this year, but I think that they're going to get a step closer, and then next year, they'll be knocking right on the door with all that youth. But the game tonight should be a lot of fun. I think, everybody's so high on Siakam. I think he'll come out and show, he's worth the big contract extension he just signed yesterday, and will be the best player out on the floor. One guy I also like for Toronto tonight that was the hero in the playoffs and forced his way into the starting two position is Fred VanVleet. I mean, he's just looked super in the preseason. I think just the playoffs, the confidence he got from that lifted him to another level. So those are two guys I'm keeping an eye on there for sure. And I think those, they'll do a terrific job. And then on the New Orleans side, like I said, I've always liked Brandon Ingram. He's one of those guys in DFS that's never priced too high. He's never picked too high in the drafts. People sort of don't know what to expect from him. But I think they forget that he was the number 2 overall pick, and he's sort of a freak in his own way. He's like 6'10" and can handle and shoot and do the whole deal. So I'm looking for him to do well tonight, and I think he's going to have a really good season to boot. And then the rest of the guys, I think it's just going to take chemistry to get all those new young guys into play. But the fun part about watching them and the fun part about DFS is, I think their games are going to be super high scoring. They're going to get up and down the floor like crazy. What do you think about that game?
I think it's going to be a really great game, and I love that you mentioned their pace because, correct me if I'm wrong, Coach, I think that's very important to target the teams that run a really fast pace. Because those players get so many more touches and shots and opportunity. And I agree with you, Coach, that the Pelicans should be up at the top as far as pace. So I love targeting them for fantasy as well. And, one of the things that I think is interesting, I'm curious if guys like Brandon Ingram, maybe Derek Favors, curious if they're going to get a large usage bump with Zion being out for maybe the first 2 months of the season. So definitely I'm keeping an eye on those guys for sure. But man, I think the matchups tonight are outstanding, especially that LA matchup. But I'm just so excited for basketball. I think you could put Detroit and Cleveland on, and I would still be hyped up right now. But definitely,
how about that second game though? The Battle of LA. That's right in your backyard.
And very exciting. I do have to say, a little bit bummed that the Clippers not 100% yet with Paul George out. And, the Lakers as well, missing Kyle Kuzma. I think Kyle Kuzma is going to be a big part of their team this year. Even though he's not the number 1 or number 2 option, I think he's still going to play a huge role. So I'm a little disappointed we're not seeing these two teams at their strongest. But it's a long 82-game season. I think they're playing on Christmas Day. I'm sure we're going to see them quite a bit this year. And I got to say, Coach, I think here in LA we've always wanted a rivalry. It never really has been. But I'll tell you what, man, with them, with both teams loading up this year with talent, it is really starting to feel like a real rivalry now.
Oh, it should. I mean, this is the first time in the history of the organizations that they've been the first and second favorites to win the NBA title. So that's never happened before. So, and it's really going to be awesome because you've got they're so opposite style teams too. You got the flash and dash and excitement with LeBron and AD and Kuzma firing it up and running the floor, and then you got the old school grinded out tough defense coached by old school Doc with Kawhi and Beverly and George just shutting everybody down. I mean, it's the perfect scenario for to see how it plays out. It's just awesome, man.
Yeah, definitely is. One thing I wanted to ask you about is I'm a newbie at DFS, but this year I'm going to dive a little deeper into it. Coach, I'm going to be picking your brain and asking you a lot of questions because you were the man. When you were calling me during summer to set up your lineup for summer league games, I was like, this guy is a DFS animal, man. You had you had multiple DFS lineups for Summer League. It was unbelievable. But, Coach, I got to say, the little small DFS that I have played, I really have difficulty on nights like tonight where there's only 2 games because I feel like the pool of players is so small. Like, everybody's kind of picking the small players. So I always avoided playing DFS on nights like tonight. I know you're such a diehard freak that you're playing every night, but what like suggestion would you have for a newbie like me on playing on a night like tonight where there's only 2 games?
Well, it's really simple. It all has to do with your lineup build. So there's a couple of things. First of all, for any of our listeners out there that jump on the podcasts and look at Hoopball NBA DFS today. Because Micah Patry and I did a series of 6 long shows, like an hour and a half shows, where we talked about strategy of DFS, the different kinds of contests, cash versus GPP play, which are the tournament plays, which sites have late where you can swap guys out, which don't, strategies on small slates, big slates, you name it, we went over it. And then we did a 3-part series also, again, long shows, where each show we took 10 teams. So we went over all 30 teams, and we went through how each player from each team would be affected by all the changes in NBA and DFS combined this year. So if you're new to DFS, or you want to sharpen up, or even if you're a shark looking for a few edges, I go back, look at Hoopball NBA DFS Today podcast with myself, Coach, and Micah Patria. If you listen through those, it'll answer all of those questions and more that you just asked, Adrian. But to address that specific one, on a slate where there's two games like this, it's a combination on your build of, you want to take some of the stars that are going to be highly owned, and the key factor is putting in a few value plays that are cheaper, that can make your lineup, that you think are going to take a step forward and do well in this contest. Like for me, I already mentioned Brandon Ingram. He's medium priced. He helps make the lineup. I know Micah Patria likes JJ Redick tonight, because New Orleans announced that Redick is going to start in Zion's spot tonight, and they're going to bump everybody down and play smaller. So that's one strategy you can use. And also, to address what you had mentioned with Zion being out, I think the big beneficiary there, of course, it'll be Redick a little bit getting more minutes when they play smaller, but Nicolo Melli is a rookie that they played a lot in the preseason. That was sort of Zion's backup, and he did nothing to hurt himself. He was really, really solid, and he's going to be a minimum price guy that you can utilize. So, for me, I'm starting my build tonight with LeBron and Davis, and they're the two most expensive guys, or 2 of the 3 most expensive. So you got to bumper that with a few more inexpensive guys that you think are going to get it done, like a Melli or Ingram or Redick, and then you just mesh that together to make your best team. Now, tomorrow night, there's an 11-game slate, so it's a different strategy. You cherry pick, you got 22 teams, and your lineups are generally only 8 or 9 guys, so on DFS. So you just cherry pick and take the guys that you feel are going to have the best nights based on their opponent, pace, defensive tendencies, rotations, all the aspects that bring it together, and then that's how you plug in your teams. But definitely, Adrian, you got to get in. It's really cool. Fantasy Draft is sponsoring a weekly game called the Coaches Challenge, and it's only a $2 entry. And it's really all my hoopball family here. And I'm also doing some stuff with Roto Radar, so they're going to get some guys in there. And it's just going to be a fun trash talking thing where, who can be the best in that weekly contest. Everything that goes into the contest is paid out. There's no rake. There's nothing. And you also get some cool fantasy draft swag. So that will be fun. And the other thing I wanted to mention, because you and I haven't been together on here in so long, for our listeners that listen to us all through the year last year, what I ended up doing at the end of the summer is I actually retired my executive position, and I am doing Hoopball and Roto Radar and DFS full time. It's now my 24/7 job, and it's living the life, and I'm absolutely loving it, man.
I'm so jealous. I wish I could do that, man. I'm jealous, but you are going to be a major resource for me, Coach. I'm going to be hitting you up all season long. And I definitely want to get in that coaches challenge, because if by some miracle I can ever beat you, oh man, you will never hear the end of it.
I have such a massive target on my back. If I lose to you or Dan Vesperis, or even Mike Apotri, even though he's a shark, I just, I'm sweat. I'm more nervous picking that $2 lineup than my $500 head-to-heads because of the pride.
Oh man, I don't even care about the money. The opportunity to get one on you, man. That's my motivation. So
I love it, dude. Well,
fun stuff.
Let me
get in there, guys.
Let me mention this real quick too. So, we've got a lot going on. This show was basically to kick off the year and let you know sort of everything that's going on at hoop-ball.com. But we are going to start our 5 days a week, our box score breakdown, which to me is one of the best shows you can listen to on Hoop Ball, other than Dan's show, of course. Dan is the GOAT. His NBA Today show every day is the best. But the box score breakdown's cool because we go on when the games are still on. So we're reviewing all the scores, scenarios that took place throughout the evening, things that we saw fresh in our mind, things that are going on when we're on the show. So it's great for just really getting a flow and helping you build teams for DFS, and helping you know who to start in your regular leagues. And Sunday nights will be you, Adrian, and Kurt will be doing the show together. And then we get to keep our Monday slot, so you and I will be back on there. We can restart the Chicken Suit Challenge and get that going. We'll get more into that on our next show, but that was a real big head-to-head battle last year. And then Tuesday, Hank's going to have the helm, and he's going to have a different special guest on each week, which will be really fun. And then it's Wednesdays are Josh and Kurt, and then Thursdays are JC and Alan. So we've got a real all-star group of guys 5 nights a week that'll be doing the box score breakdown. And as always, our shows are sponsored by Hawaiian Isles Kona Coffee, and we also have fantasy draft coming in, and a couple other sponsors that jumped on and are new this year that Dan will be talking a lot about. So we want to thank them also.
The box score breakdown show is great, you guys. If for some reason you weren't able to watch the games or you weren't able to see what went down, you can tune into the box score breakdown show and you will know everything that happened that day. We go deep into the box score. We look at all of the stats. We want to give you everything that we think is fantasy relevant, as far as, do you got to go pick this guy up? If a guy has a bad game, is that just a fluke, or is that something we need to worry about going forward? I mean, we really get deep into it. I was doing the box score breakdown heavily last season with Neil Rochlani. Some of those shows we were doing, Coach, were long because there's some nights, like Wednesday night, where there's like 10 games and you don't want to miss anything. So you guys definitely, this is the intro, kind of the start show here, and we don't have any box scores to talk about. So, we're just having a good time chatting right now. But starting tomorrow, The box score breakdown shows are going to be all business. It's going to be all about what's happened in those games. So you guys definitely want to tune into that. And as you said, Coach, we got a really great lineup of hosts and pros that are going to be taking a look at these games. But I'm really excited that you and I are going to be the ones starting the week off. Let's get you guys off to a great start for the week, man.
Absolutely, man. And it's going to be a blast. It really is. I look forward. That's the only non-DFS show I'm doing now because we have a 7-day-a-week NBA DFS show, of which I'm on 6 of them. So it is a busy time. So my only old school fantasy draft podcast I'm doing is with my man Adrian Benjamins. And I want you to know, Adrian, one of my 5 leagues that I'm doing, and I think I mentioned this to you before, but I'll let my listeners make fun of me of how old I am. But my very first fantasy draft, my buddy and I apologize if some of you guys have already heard this story, but I'll be quick. But my buddy and I were sophomores in high school, 15 years old, and we saw a magazine called Inside Sport Magazine, and the article was called La Rotisserie Club, and it was a bunch of attorneys that had gotten together and drafted a baseball fantasy team, and no one had ever heard what that was before. I mean, this was way back. So my buddy and I, being monster NBA fans, said, let's do this for NBA. So we did it. We had 6 guys is all, and we drafted our teams, and we had to wait to get the sporting news in the mail each week to do the stats. And we have kept that league together, and we drafted on Sunday our 40th season.
My goodness.
4-0. And I still have my first 3 picks I took in the initial draft of Moses Malone, Kareem Abdul-Jabbar.
Oh my gosh.
I know. Is that crazy?
Wow.
And who was my third guy? It was Moses, Kareem, and I had a really great guard. How could I forget? But it'll come to me. But it's been 40 years. You know, it happens that it loses your brain. But yeah. So how cool is that? So that's where my roots will always be.
Wow.
And the fact that we have that league. I'm a 14-time winner, by the way.
Wow. Wow. Nice. Man, I thought my oldest league, my home league that I play with like friends that I grew up with, friends I went to like elementary school with, we've been playing like just over like 15 years. I thought that was an accomplishment. You just blew that out of the water, man.
Well, I've never heard, I've talked to people about this for years and years. I've never found anybody that has one that old.
No.
I think we may have been one of the first handful in the country. I really do.
I've never heard of that. And I gotta say, one of the things I regret is my favorite era of basketball, of course, is the Jordan era. The Bird, Magic, Isaiah. I'm really wish that I could have played fantasy during that time period, because I think, oh my gosh, that would have just been a blast. But it's a fun time now. Now is always great, and the NBA's never been better. We just talked earlier about what an outstanding season this is shaping up to be. So, you guys, we're excited to be back. Thank you guys so much. Coach, any closing thoughts before we put a bow on this thing?
Absolutely. One quick thing, just remember, all of our shows are pushed out by Red Circle, and you can listen to any of them anywhere podcasts are found, iTunes, Google Play, Stitcher, Podbean, iHeart, Spotify, YouTube, everywhere. And, do take a minute or two, if you can, to rate, review, subscribe, 5 stars, likes, positive reviews. All of that's super important, because we all work our tails off here at Hoopball to bring free content out to our listeners, and we really want to support our sponsors and get them going. And join me 6 days a week, please, on Hoopball NBA DFS Today podcast. I'm on there, like I say, all the time, every day, with our new guy, Andrew Hansen, and then Mike Patria. And then, of course, listen to our man, Dan Vespris, every day. on our box score breakdowns, and it's all for real, man. And you and I get to have fun on Monday nights, and that will be my favorite show of the week. I can tell you that.
I can't argue with that, man. I am greatly looking forward to talking to you every Monday, Coach. You guys follow Coach on Twitter at Joe Sarvadi. I'm there too at Adrian Benjamins. You guys, we're so pumped. I can't believe it's opening day. Here we go. All right, you guys, we'll talk to you next time.
This has been a Hoop Ball presentation.